AKA Genius John, as we call him, DJ John. My name is Ebro. I work at Ebro in the morning on Hot 97 every morning. You may or may not have tuned in, but I hope you have. We appreciate the support. You keep us employed, so we're very appreciative. Helps us pay our mortgages, which is why we're here today to talk about that. I want to introduce you guys to the person who's going to give us tons of information today. They call her Harlem's banker. We want you guys to give a round of applause for Nichol King. There you go. There you are.
What's up, ladies? Hey, girl.
You got it? You got it?
I got it.
So Nichol, as she says, ran down on me at the Brooklyn Museum and said, I need to be on your show. We need to get to work. And I asked her what she did, and she told me what she does up here in Harlem with regard to educating and trying to get people more informed and better prepared to become homeowners and manage their finances. And I don't know if you want to give the backstory on this space and how this space became, because this is a very unique situation that Chase has put together.
For sure. Well, hello, everyone. I'm just in awe that you all are here. Ebro's not lying. I ran down on him in Brooklyn, and I was like, listen, we got to get to work. But my name is Nichol King. Just give you a little background about myself. I've been with JP Morgan for 16 years, and 5 years ago, the firm was really reimagining how they can better support communities like Harlem and communities that have been historically overlooked. So I was a business banker at the time, helping small businesses grow and scale. Absolutely loved what I did. And they said, you know, Nichol, we're thinking about coming up with a role called community manager. And we think that role is important because a lot of people, right, in communities like Harlem, they don't want to walk into the bank. They don't really have the trust because of the history. We know the history, right? Okay. So they said, you know, we're thinking about coming up with this role. And I'm going to be honest, y'all. I was not looking to switch. I love helping minority businesses. But then after a lot of praying, meditating, you know what? If not me, then who? If not now, then when? Because Harlem is just so important to me. I mean, my ancestors migrated here from Jamaica. My dad is from here. This is the mecca of everything excellent when it comes to Black culture, right? So I was like, okay. So long story short, I went through 17 interviews, beat out 32 candidates, and was the first ever community manager for JP Morgan Chase. So about this space. So what we did was we surveyed community residents to really understand what was important to the community. We just didn't want to just pop up another beautiful branch. So the community said, you know, we want a place that we can come in and really learn the basics about financial health education. And we want to do it in a space that we feel comfortable doing it in, where you're not selling us anything. We just want to learn. So you're sitting in the first ever flagship community center right here in the dead smack of Harlem for JP Morgan Chase. And I'm just so proud to say that we've been doing this work for 5 years. We're celebrating our 5-year anniversary this month, and we're opening our 18th community center in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn in October. And since I was one of one, now we have 150 community managers across the country doing this work.
Amazing, amazing.
That was long-winded.
No, but it was amazing. Give a round, more claps. So, a couple of very important things. So I don't do the whole financial advising thing on the radio. I don't do the whole trying to, tell people what they need to do with their money. Because I feel like everybody's at a different point in their financial journey, and just broadcasting that stuff on the radio, it could be irresponsible. So today we're not going to be giving you some quick fix plan or a way to, flip your money, flip your house. That's not what we're doing today. Today is really about relationships. So one of the things I do talk about often on my show is how many people actually have a relationship with the bank that they put their money into. Plain and simple. When you walk into the bank every other week, when you get your direct deposit or you cash your check, whatever it is you're doing, do you know someone sitting at those desks? You know, we all walk into the bank and be like, what's that person do? They're there to help you. They're there to answer questions. They're there to try to help you get a plan together so that you can do some financial planning and get on a journey to trying to figure out what it is you want to do, whether that is purchasing a home, whether that is, planning for retirement, whatever that is, paying for your children to go to college, wherever, even planning your own college education. Like it's all of those things, right? So today I wanted to just make sure you understood. Even besides Nichol, there's other people in this room that when we get to the Q&A at the end, they may raise their hand and they might be talking about something that you might just want to get a business card. You might want to share an email. You might want to set up a phone call just to learn. This is all about learning, okay? And on that note, Nichol, talk about that first step that, you hear from people when they're trying to figure out what exactly they want to do in getting into a home. What do you often hear from people, and what is the challenge, that first step, the challenge that people have making?
I love that question because, can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. I love that question because the first step starts with awareness. Where is your money going? You'd be so surprised. Well, if I'm going to ask, by a show of hands, how many of you in this room know exactly where your money is going? That's not even 50% of the room, right?
And when you ask that question, you mean like, how many apps am I paying for? How many,
how many Uber rides?
Have I spent?
Right?
How much is my beauty budget
Yes.
taxing on me annually, monthly, et cetera?
Yes. So where's your money going? That's the first step, is understanding where your money is going. And then once you identify where your money is going, then you begin to prioritize. And you're asking yourself, is my money going everywhere, or am I spending my money in service to my goal, right? And if you're not spending your money that's in service to your goal, then we got to make some changes.
Well, and maybe there's another problem or, observation. How many people in here have a financial goal? There's a lot of people who don't even have a financial goal. They don't even know what they're trying to accomplish. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So identifying where your money is going, then getting on a budget. A lot of people feel that a budget is something that is supposed to restrict you, but it actually educates you and helps you, inform you where you should allocate your dollars and cents, as I mentioned before, so it can be in service of your goal. If you don't have a goal, I would always say the first thing is making sure that you have at least 6 to 12 months of expenses set aside for the unexpected. Because the one thing that we do know, what happened when the pandemic hit, we wasn't set up for success as a community. So first and foremost, understanding where your money is going, get you a financial goal if you don't have one, and put yourself on a budget. And when I say budget, I mean really understanding. And when I first started, I'm going to be completely honest, vulnerable up here. Like, I'm up here, I didn't have it all together. I didn't know where my money was going. I was brunching every weekend with the girls. I was buying red bottoms. I was looking the part, but I wasn't really the part, So when I think about now, today, I had to really, even my friendship circle changed. Once I got a financial goal of buying a house, right, investing in the market, I had to change my circle, and my circle had to reflect my goals. Just like my money and where I spent my money had to reflect my goals. My circle, how I spent my time, the people I spent my time with, they had to reflect the goals that I was trying to reach.
I want to drill down on that a little bit, because I could imagine, right, we all have friends. You're like, yo, I ain't got it this weekend. And that one friend's like, man, F all that, bro. We can hit, You're like, no, I really don't have it, fam. Like, come up with a better idea for us to hang out, because I really don't want to go out and spend that money. And I think that's what you're talking about, is people who really hear you say things like, yo, I really have a plan. Here's what I'm trying to do. And they're not trying to take you off that path.
Nope. And that whole YOLO mentality.
Right.
You only live once. Come on, let's do it. But no, it's really understanding the difference between wants and needs, instant gratification. That shouldn't be a thing, right? How many of us have brought like a pair of shoes or a pair of sneakers and we knew we had to have them, right? And then a week later, you like,
I didn't really need to have them. I'm kind of over them. They kind of trash. I don't even know why I bought those. I don't even like them. And resell them on eBay.
Right. So it's really, honestly, Ebro, is really things like that. It's just really harnessing and getting control of your money. But first, I always go back to understanding where it's going.
So is that something that when you go, is that an expectation people should have to get that assistance when they go to a bank?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to be completely honest and transparent. It is your responsibility to understand where your money is going. However, and if you're not, this is not about being a Chase customer, because what I love about this is that you don't have to be a Chase customer to get these resources and this information. But I would always ask clients that I sit in front of, let's look at your bank statement. And you would be surprised how many folks use, for instance, in this case, I'm going to say Chase, non-Chase ATMs. So then what I say is that the other bank is charging you $3 to get your own money. I'm charging you $3 to get your own money. So right then and there, how much are you paying for your own money? $6, right? So multiply that by 7, by 12. That's a lot of money that you can be saving. So there's instant savings right away. So yes, if you come into the bank, we can guide you and help you, but ultimately we're not with you on the weekend. We're not with you when your homeboy calling you, your homegirl calling you.
I know for myself, several things happened for me, when I was in my 20s. I've been in media since 15 years old, so 30 years now. And, I was blowing money in the 90s in the clubs, doing all the things. And I had a buddy of mine that went and worked for one of those finance, like a Charles Schwab or Northwest Mutual, I forget which one. And at any rate, he encouraged me to get a retirement plan when I was in like 26, 27, right? But I thought I was just helping out the homie. Didn't know he was really helping me out. Like I was like, yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah, I'll get one of those if that make you look good. But I was putting in like $400 a month. And then it kind of dawned on me, like as I continued to do this over the years, like when I didn't have it, I put in 200, or I had it a little bit more and I throw in, 600 or whatever. Then I started being like, oh, wait, I start to get money back when because I didn't even understand retirement. Like I thought retirement was like something like a finality. Like you retire, you just got to sit at home. Like it's over. You just go sit on the couch and stare at the wall. But people out here retiring, they're getting money back and they're going to do other ventures and live a second life, do all types of stuff. So, fortunately I stuck with it. And, now I'm, on pace to retire like in the next 10 years. Right. And so, but I did that just because a friend sent me on that path. The other thing that I learned too was talking to somebody at the bank actually helped me stay honest, because when they ask you that question, like, yo, we're going to take a look at your banking statement. And they'd be like, well, why'd you do this, and this? And you'd be like, I don't know. I wasn't even really thinking about it. And it starts to make you be honest, because the first time you show that banking statement, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Bro, you don't know how many people be like, was that me? You sure that was me? You sure that's me you looking at?
Yeah.
You sure that was my account? That's my transaction? Yes.
Or it's a negative balance and you sitting in there and they're like, yo, you just got all these overdraft charges and you looking nuts, right? And so there is some value to having a partnership of somebody who's going to hold you accountable and ask you those questions and really make you critically begin to think about what you're doing with your money, especially if that's not what was discussed at the dinner table when you was young, or that's not something that was just in your home about actually thinking about the money that you spent.
And the great thing is when you get a banking partner and you know your banker, as Ebro mentioned, they hold you accountable, but they're checking in on you, every 3 months, every 6 months. Hey, Nichol, how's it going? Are you still on track to meet your goal? Do we need to adjust? But again, it's really about like having that awareness and having that relationship, in the bank. Because when I think about growing up, I don't remember walking into a bank with my mom. You know, my mom used a check cashing place. You know, I got my first bank account at Carver Bank when I was a young in my 20s. So I wasn't even exposed to banking. So it just brings me joy when I see these young king and queens here, like sitting in the bank and just knowing like you belong here and this is the bank for you.
Let's talk about the kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, the materialism culture, the fake it to make it culture. You know, everybody, you know, you seeing everybody Instagram, it look like they living a life, and then you kind of find out they broke, but they take some good pictures. They take some real good pictures, or they buy it and then take it back to the store because they kept the receipt, but they just took it for the Instagram. There's a lot of that going on. You know, Instagram's a liar. But we all kind of live in that keep up with the Joneses, kind of like, you know, try to make it look like something world, like it's rampant. But you also said you were doing that when you were coming up as well. How tough was it for you to make that psychological shift, right? Because it is like, yo, I really need a new outfit, and I don't want to have to wear the same outfit again because they saw me in it a couple of weeks ago. Right? Or in this world of social media, you know, I hear a lot of girls be like, they saw me in that dress on Instagram a couple weeks ago. I don't want to take no photos. Right? I can't post this. They already saw me in it. But it does take some bravery, in essence, to be like, you know, I'm on a different path and I'm just going to accept my reality so that I can become something greater later.
It was definitely difficult. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like lie and say, oh, I just switch my behavior, you know, and how I managed my money overnight. It was definitely difficult. One of the things I mentioned is I set a goal for myself. At the time, I was like, I want to be, and I can tell you what inspired me. I was sitting in the beauty parlor, and ladies, I'm dating myself, but it's okay. How many of y'all remember doobies? Washing sets. Okay.
Well, they don't do that no more?
I don't know.
Doobies and pins, that's out?
I don't know.
Ain't nobody doing that?
I don't know. We got a doobie girl over there. We definitely got a doobie girl.
I thought that was still going on out here.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. So I was sitting in I was just when I had my hair was long, I had hair. I was sitting in the beauty parlor, getting a doobie, and we know when you get a doobie under that dryer, you under that dryer for like 40, like an hour, right? So I'm sitting under the dryer, and it was this sister sitting next to me, and we just, you know, we struck up a conversation. And she was 30 years old at that time, and she said she just purchased her first condo. And I was like, wow, that's dope, like, to myself. And I was, I think I was it was 17 years ago. I was in my late 20s, and I remember I was like, that's my goal. So once I put that goal in my mind, I just started rearranging my life to meet that goal. So as I mentioned before, like half of the people that, you know, my circle has gotten very small because folks that are not on the same path as me to reach, you know, their goals, my goals, whatever, I had to kind of get rid of in service of doing the things that I need to do to become financially free, not going to the brunches every weekend, buying the red bottoms, the bags, the shoes. And I'm a tunnel girl. I used to hang out in the tunnel.
You brunching now, though.
I'm brunching
you the boss now. You brunching back to the brunches?
I'm back to the brunches. But I'm back to the brunches on a budget.
Well, no, but I do bring that up because there is something to be said for the long term, right? Like short term, there are these sacrifices that can be painful, right? But guess what ain't going nowhere? Kicking it ain't going anywhere. Right? Getting dressed and being fly ain't going nowhere. Clubs ain't going nowhere. None of that's going anywhere. And it's more fun, honestly, when you know you could go out and have a good time and not have to look at your bank account the next day like, damn, I mean, yesterday was fun, but this week is about to be trash.
Monday mornings, y'all, I used to be so stressed looking at my bank account from the weekend. Like, you laughing, sis, back there, because you know, right? Like, no shame. This is a safe space. But, like, Monday morning, I used to be like, was it worth it? You know? So, yeah. And I just, you know, when we think about, like, the community and just wealth and generational wealth, you know, the average white family has 10 times the the wealth of a black family, and it's just, we got to change that, so that's why we're here today to really, just be honest, vulnerable about the steps that we can take to really change that. And I promise you, it may sound difficult in the beginning, but it's just, first of all, the first, every journey begins with the first step. And tonight you're here to get the information. So give yourselves a round of applause for that.
Yeah, if you in this room right now, you trying to do something that most people ain't trying to do. Matter of fact, after we're done here, there's going to be a workshops and, conversations to go a little bit farther and deeper and, really dig into if you have questions and goals and things that you're trying to set. Once again, this is about relationships. It's about meeting people that can help you on your path, people who can advise you, people who can teach you about the terminology, right? And I'll reiterate it again. Like I tell a lot of my friends who don't have retirement plans, those commercials you see on TV, and they're like, call so-and-so. Literally, that's their job, for you to call the number and ask them what things mean. I don't understand this terminology. What is this actually about? That's the job, for them to pick up the phone and try to create a relationship. And so that's essentially what we're trying to do here is create relationships for y'all and introduce you to people. Going a little bit farther on the psychological side, right? And I don't know if you've spent time on this, but I had to do it myself. Going out, spending money, popping bottles, buying cars, buying clothes, all these things. At a certain point, I personally had to say, why? It gets old, right? Like how many shoes you gonna buy, how much clothes you gonna buy, how many clubs you gonna go to. Like at a certain point, you're like, it's all the same. It's the same. You start seeing the same people, everybody doing the same. It's just like, what are we doing? And I literally had to stop and go, am I like afraid to stay home? Like, is there something is there a reason I can't be in the house? Is there a reason I have to go to a restaurant all the time? Is there a reason? And you start to psychoanalyze yourself and realize that, you don't want to be with yourself and your, I guess, limited finances and the state of your current affairs. But for me, the plan actually helped me be with myself and be quiet and be okay being home, because I had a plan that now was laid out in front of me. I don't know if that happened for you.
What? I totally had to go through that. Like just getting quiet, getting still. First of all, I'm a big proponent of meditation. So I meditate, every day. That has helped me really tremendously in my life in terms of grounding me. And, my father used to say, you take you with you. So it doesn't matter where you go, if you move, like it's you. So you have to get to the real core of, why am I spending? Why am I making the decisions that I'm making? What am I trying to, and I mean, let's face it, as people of color, we have a lot of trauma. We have, right? So dealing with the trauma, we can't cover that up. We can't, new shoes, fresh kicks, that's not going to fix the trauma. So for me, it really was getting some therapy. It was meditating. It was really understanding that what was on the inside really, what was on the outside really doesn't define what's on the inside. I had to do the self-work.
I want to take some questions too, if anybody has anything, or maybe somebody has something to contribute to the conversation. So I know we have some homeowners that are already here that live in the area. I know we have some other people who are also in real estate that maybe you guys want to make sure that you connect with people today. Is there anybody? Raise your hand. We'll bring the microphone to you. Don't be shy. And once again, you in the back. So I don't know if the mic's gonna step up that far, but come on up here to the front. Are you gonna have them? Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
All right, good. Everyone, I'm Thomas Walker, most in the area. They know me as Book. I've been a lot of places. I do a lot of things. I see a lot of young faces in here, and that's actually who I want to speak to right now. Listen, older people are going to tell you things, and as a young person, I'm telling you this because I've done it. They will give you advice on what to do with your money, where to put your money, how to use your money, and you're just going to shrug them off. I know I've done it. When you was young, have you done it? 20, 30 years later, I realized that if I had listened to them, at this present moment, I might be sitting on about 2 to 3 million, and that's not an exaggeration. 20 years, you get into a career A career, let me explain to y'all what a career is. A career is somewhere you're going to be for about 20 to 30 years. It's not just a job. A job is something you get in and you get tired and you go on to the next. You get into a career, you're going to be there for a while. You start putting your money where it's supposed to be from the beginning when that money compounds. And you look at it coming around retirement time and you look at that account. Am I lying? Can anybody in here say that I'm right? That money that you will see is going to be so amazing to you. So for your young people, please don't just shrug off what the older people tell you. Some of you older people, y'all need to listen to some of the things they were saying, because I look at my account all the time and I see that one of my accounts is nothing but a food account. I look at it every day and I say, damn, well, I spent almost $40 a day just eating breakfast, lunch, and something at the end of the day. So I had to cut back. I had to learn. I don't need to go out anymore.
Yo, I take my lunch every day. I carry my lunch to work every day.
Listen, if we go out to my car, I got a cooler in my car. I still got my lunch.
My little Tupperware in the front seat right over there right now.
Can I get a pound? Yes. But I mean, there's so much that I could tell you. Y'all touched on a bunch of things about the sneakers, the red bottoms, things you really don't need. Ask yourself when you go to buy them, how much are those going to be worth next year? Because most of us all bought sneakers. We bought clothes that sit in our closet now that we're never going to wear again. It's not making you any money. That's a liability. It's not an asset. Don't think about being fly for social media, like you said, because the benefit is really in being asset rich. Don't be liquid rich. If y'all don't liquid rich, if y'all don't understand what that is, liquid is when you actually have money that you can pull out your pocket and doing this. Asset means I own this house. So
I own this business.
Right. And for everyone in here that owns houses, y'all know your money is in your home. People would tell you, oh, come on, man, you got it. You rich. You got it. You got a car. You got a home. You got all of this. Yeah, that's asset rich. But I really don't have it to go out with you tonight. And don't be afraid to tell a person that. I heard y'all say, look at your bank accounts. See where your money is. That will guide you. When you start looking at your bank account and you see that you used to have $100 in there, but at the end of the week, now all of a sudden you only have $40 in there because you've been running out, eating, and hanging out with your friends, that's going to wake you up. And that's going to say, damn, well, I spent a lot of money and I shouldn't have. And I'm not going to go on long. There's so much that I could talk about, but I'm not, because it's not my show. All right. But hopefully for your younger people that y'all really picked up on something. For the older people, stop going out. Stop buying red bottoms and everything else, and start putting your money where it is. Oh, sorry. One last thing. Very, very, very important. And they touched on it in the beginning. Please don't be afraid to get you a financial advisor. Whether you go into your bank and you talk to somebody, build a relationship with them, or if you find a financial advisor that you're comfortable with, please do that. Please do that. And I'm going to just tell y'all why I say that. About 2 or 3 years ago, I was ready to retire. When the time came for me to put it in, I didn't put it in because I wasn't sure if I was financially set. You know what? I'm going to skip this retirement package. I'm going to find me a financial advisor. Found that financial advisor. We worked it all out. By chance, he said, man, you could have left because you are financially set. Because at some time during my career, I started changing up how I was spending money, where I was putting my money. And I let this financial advisor run through everything, all my accounts. You're spending a little here, we could tweak it. If you do this, you put your money here, this and that, and the third, it'll grow. Now it's come around again. My company offered a big package that I should have taken. But I had my financial advisor to go to. So I threw everything at them. Hey, listen, this is what they're offering me. Tell me where I stand. They told me, listen, man, you can go. You're right. You're all right. I didn't take the package because I need 2 more years, but I could have left. And that's only because at some point in my life, I did pretty much what they said, what they were saying. I started looking at my bank accounts. I started looking at my money. I started really deciphering whether this is going to make me money or in a year, is it going to make me lose money? And I started cutting all of that out. I'm not buying $150 sneakers anymore. I'll be honest with y'all. Everybody knows they think I'm rich. They say I'm rich, whatever. But my sneakers are usually $50. My kids joke with me because I only spend over $100 on sneakers every 2 years. And they call them, Dad got the new every twos. That's my new every twos, and I'll be wearing them for 4 or 5 years. I'll keep wearing them. But everything under that, I don't want to spend over $100 on sneakers because once I wear them out and they get torn up, they're done. I didn't make any money. But I'm going to stop right there.
Thank you for sharing, bro. Thank you so much. Magic, right? That's right. Yes, come on up.
Check. Hello, everybody. My name is Magic Washington. I run a company called Hue Capital. It is a AI-powered startup for young professionals and entrepreneurs. So firstly, I want to thank you, Ebro and Nichol, for hosting this event. And my question to you is, what advice do you have for people that are interested in home ownership but are discouraged by the current market that we are in, right? You hear interest rates are high, you should have got a house in 2008 instead of going to school, So what advice do you have for people that want to pursue that but are a little discouraged?
Okay. So in full disclosure, me and my team do not give advice for the reason of we want everyone to understand that this is education and we don't want you to feel like we're selling you anything.
Told y'all we ain't in here flipping houses, fam.
Right.
That's all we doing.
I will tell you from my own experience, though. I could never time the market, right? So I purchased my place in 2007. 2007. My rate was historically low. Rates don't look like that today, but rates are going to come back down based on the Fed, right? So my advice is don't try to time the market. Home ownership, in my opinion, is always a great asset because when you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. So why not pay your own mortgage, build your own equity, and then if rates come down, you can refinance. Does that make sense?
I would also, too, encourage, odds are, when you decide you want to buy your first home, it may not be in the neighborhood you grew up in. For whatever reason, right? You might need to buy something cheaper, start smaller, whatever it is, just to get in the game. So you have to be prepared, not only financially, but psychologically to make sacrifices. Your commute might be different. You might have to move away from family and friends a little bit farther to just get in the game. And that is something that, discouraged. It's scary, right? Because people are like, oh, my mom, I grew up around here. This is where I want to be. Or my grandmother's over there. I need to be able to check on so-and-so and this and that. And those are all valid reasons to want to buy in a certain geography. But to get in the home buying game, you may have to go look at a neighborhood that's newly up and coming where you can get in easier because there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Vacancies. You know what I mean?
That was Harlem.
Yeah.
So how many of us is from Harlem? Okay. So I bought my place in 2007. Did Harlem look like it does today? Right? So same thing, right? I was like, oh my gosh, it's vacant buildings. They selling crack right there, right? This block is crazy. But if I did not invest then, I couldn't afford to live here now. So to Ebro's point, we have to think about where you purchase your first home may not be where you went to elementary school. But the idea is to get in the game because you got to live somewhere. And you're paying, right now, if you're not a homeowner, you're paying somebody else's rent. And with your rent, they're sending their children to college, they're building equity, and they're generating generational wealth.
The other thing I learned, too, when I bought my first place was to look at mass transit, to look at what the school systems was doing, maybe even to go do my Googles on maybe city planning and different things that they were planning for a specific area, because then when you are ready to rent that place out, let's say it's your first place, you buy a little studio apartment or whatever, which would be great for, a renter. You're going to live in it as your first place for a few years, and then maybe you're going to be able to, stack up, save, whatever, and get into another place. That first place, if it's near public transportation, things like that, it's easy to rent out. So that was something I also looked for when I bought my first place too, and tried to pay attention to where the neighborhood was actually, their plans for it were going.
And another thing that you can do, I love that you said that, is the community board. Community board meetings. If you go to the community board meetings, they let you know what's coming to the community and to the neighborhood. So you understand the plans 5, 10 years, even 15 years down the road. I knew Trader Joe's was coming. I was like, Trader Joe's is coming. I knew
it's home.
Yeah. I don't got to go downtown anymore. I got Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. I mean, everything.
Yes. Come on up. Of course.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Alon. I could actually help with that conversation. Not too long ago, I was here with set up with Queen of Harlem and Jacqueline Plaza and Dave Forbes, who actually just texted me, got a commitment letter for a client for a 2-bedroom HDFC co-op a few blocks down from here. So I'm very active in the area. And what I would say to answer your question, part of that is when you can afford to buy, you should buy. Right? Because everything goes up in this city. Cost of construction, water bills, electricity. So it's not getting any cheaper. And, that's a big part of this. And, it doesn't have to be your forever home, right? You can do good on that home, get equity later on, purchase a bigger home. Jacqueline Plaza explained a lot about that. And, it's just, there's a lot going on here. Interest rates did drop, but everyone's on their own path. And I would say that it's not how much you make, it's really how much you can save, right? And the journey is on your timeline, not anybody else's. And those are the, big takeaways I've realized, working low income purchases and around here.
Well, no, thank you for that ad. I love what you. Well, first of all, thank you for working with the Chase team.
Yeah.
Because Jacqueline Plaza and Dave Forbes are partners of mine. But I love what you said. Is not how much you make, is how much you save. I want to take it a step further. It's not how much you make, is how much you keep, and then based on how much you keep is how much you can save. But we gotta keep some money first, right?
Absolutely.
So.
And just to add to that, you don't need to do this on your own, right? The most important thing you can do is build a team around you, because getting a home in New York City, one, it's unlike getting a home anywhere else. The co-op boards are crazy, and the best thing you can do is build your team, work with someone like Nichol, work with a real estate advisor. You're gonna end up needing an attorney who protects you on contract review. So it's really just about building your team. Advice can be free, right? We don't charge by the hour. We actually don't charge anything to buyers here. And so it can be a very affordable process, just even getting information.
Thank you very much. Yes. Okay.
I have okay, yeah. I didn't watch Bloomberg today. 0.5%. Okay.
0.5%, they say.
That's encouraging.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to link to that comment when you talk about it. I think one of the common themes that you've heard is do things for the right. And so we'll talk about interest. All know we're in the average rates so below his things for the right reasons and find that advisor and get that advice and do that research. Do it for the right reasons. Don't put in your mind these obstacles. Oh, it's too expensive. understand the history.
Another thing that I learned that I'll share with y'all too. On the notion of buy when you can buy, not based on an interest rate or this whole, trying to game the system or time the market and all that. I learned because I got in on my first purchase at a very high interest rate, right? Which was like not 18%, but for the time it was 8%, right? But I could afford it. So it was like, all right, I'll do it. A few years later, they put out some program that was like, oh, it wasn't even a refi. I think it was Obama was like, oh, if you had got an interest rate above XYZ, we just gonna knock it down to 5%. I was like, I'm in. They just knocked it off. I was like, cool. But I never refied. And in that instance, right, I made money. So sometimes getting in at a higher interest rate, because it will come down, will ultimately make you some money if the market changes, right? And you can use that to your advantage later on because that interest rate change, your monthly payment's going to be cheaper and your property value hopefully has increased just because you've had the asset for a little while. And so you made some money just like that. So on the notion of when it's right for you, do it. There's a lot of positive to that. Yes, you in the back.
How do you feel about that type of warning? Because we're in this weird election year, and it always gets funky around this time. So for the people that do have trepidations about who's going to become president and what that reality is going to look like, how do they make the decision then? And I know you're going to probably say, well, you got to still forge ahead, but in reality, if you're doing the calculations, that's terrible.
I don't know if you want to answer that, but I'll jump in. I'll just say there's always going to be a thing in my experience. Pick a thing. There's always going to be a thing. And like you said, you're only in control of yourself and your finances. And so to the degree that you can plan and what you can control, I've always had the thought that I got to get in the game though, right? And I have to figure out how to get in the game because if I'm in the game, something terrible happens, I still have an asset that I get to sell. So I still have something of value that if my world turns upside down for whatever reason, I can go have a thing, sell it. Maybe I made a few dollars and then I can figure out what my play is going to be after that. If I don't have an asset to sell, I'm more vulnerable when the chaos comes, of whatever version of it is, than I am if I have an asset. And I'm also as a, whether you like it or not, as a homeowner in your local community on that community board, you hold more weight than many people who don't actually own homes. So when I show up to the meeting and I'm like, I'm an owner, right? I pay taxes, like my dollars, my money actually goes to improve this community, roads, schools, it's provide jobs, the whole deal. Because I own, I'm having a different conversation with the decision makers than if I'm a renter.
You have a voice. They treat you completely different when you own things. But I want to share a personal story with you. So my mom was a nurse, and I remember my mother coming home one day, and she said, we have to move. And I'm like, why are we gonna move? Like, I know, like, you're going to work. Like, I know you're paying the rent. The owners decided to sell our house. So I watched my mother. My mother used to work from 7 to 3, and I watched her tirelessly for the next 3 weeks after work. She would go out with different agents to find us a place to live. So from that moment, and I was a teenager at that point, it planted a seed in me that being an owner that means you'll never be displaced. So it's the economic benefit of being an owner, but then it's also security, right? I'll never be displaced because I'm an owner.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to say thank you for hosting this event. You know, these types of things weren't offered, you know, where I came up growing up. So this is powerful to see. I wanted to piggyback on what you said about the psychology of it. I watched my parents raise 5 kids. As you can see, I'm not the smallest of people. And so it was 5 big kids, and I watched them struggle and try to operate from a place of survival. So when I came into money or got my first job, that first check, similar to you, I tricked it off. I spent it. And for years, I was kicking myself. And I was mad at myself for making that kind of mistake. But I think we have to understand that we didn't know any better. My parents couldn't teach me about money. They were too busy trying to survive. So there's a level of forgiveness that we have to apply to ourselves. You know, forgive yourself for some of the mistakes you made prior to, but then try not to make them again moving forward. So that's key for me. Growing up, I always was operating from a place of ignorance in the purest form. We just didn't know. So these platforms right here where they're teaching you and, you know, giving you the education about how to build and how to build wealth, we didn't, like Kamala Harris said, you know, we didn't get the opportunity to fall on $400 million and bankrupt a number of businesses and, you know, have a safety net. You know, we're operating from places of survival. So, you know, with platforms like these are going to allow another generation to not repeat the cycle. So, again, thank you for what you guys are doing, but forgive yourself.
I love
Grace is very important. Grace is very important. I also, you know, I know we got to get to workshop. I don't know if we have any more questions, but I do want to ask you to practice saying, I don't know. Saying I don't know or I don't understand hopefully will get you to be okay walking into a space where people know something more than you do and being okay asking the question and saying, I don't understand. Whether that's a terminology being used, what's an arm, what's a fix, what is actual mortgage rate, how does that actually impact my monthly, all the terminology, right? It's intimidating because you think, and I thought everybody else already knew the answer, and you know, you feel crazy. You're like, I don't want to go in there. I think everybody know these answers and I sound stupid. But they don't know the answer. They don't. Many people don't know and aren't coming to things like this to learn. And the fact that you're in this room means that somewhere in your psyche, you've already said, I don't know and I want to go learn. And just becoming more comfortable with that process will help you hopefully show up more places, meet more people, ask more questions, right? And begin to know. And that hopefully will get us over that fear. Because it's intimidating to walk into a bank, right? It's intimidating to walk into spaces where you assume everybody's already got the answers and they're doing well and they got it all figured out. Truth be told, they don't. At all. They're all still learning. Things are changing. The world's changing. The dynamics of finances are constantly evolving and changing. Ways money gets made are changing and evolving all the time. So just practice saying, I don't know. Know what you know what you don't know. Go see experts about the things you don't know. And I think that'll help us all become more humble and more honest about where we are in our financial journey.
Yeah, and I'm constantly, you know, learning, and I'm constantly challenging myself. And here we have subject matter experts. So we have a mortgage business, we have a business banking business. So we have experts that I go to to ask questions and learn from. So I love that. And I just want to give you, this brother that sit up there, your flowers, because that's what I mentioned about like our past trauma, you know, and why I'm so passionate about this work is because it wasn't spoken about at my dinner table. And when my mom had money, right, everything was great. When she didn't, she was anxious, and it was because she wasn't taught. So what we're looking to do here is really change the narrative of underserved communities, and really, as Ebro mentioned, right, getting comfortable having conversations about money, and it's not taboo, and it's okay to ask people how much you make, how much you paid for that. Like, it's okay to talk about money. So that's what tonight is really all about. But I do want to end on a positive note. There was some hands that went up when we asked who has a financial goal. So I want a few of you to stand up and share your goal.
Ooh, it could be anything. It could be home ownership. It could be getting the kid to college. Whatever the financial goal is. Yes.
So my name is Gracie, and my financial goal is to open up a community center in Harlem. I'm trying to reconstruct my grandmother's church that she used to pastor at, and hopefully in the next year we will have a new building up in Harlem.
So give a round of applause for Gracie. So Gracie, I met the same night that I met Nichol. Gracie's grandmother's church, they were trying to take the church from y'all, and they raised enough money to pay off the debt of the church and save the building. So she did that all by herself, and now they're in the process of raising money to actually reconstruct the church. And so give it up to Gracie one time, because she's actually doing great work for her family and her legacy. Anyone else want to share their goal? Yes.
My financial goal, because I'm a senior in high school, so I'm about to go to college.
There you go.
With an organization called Street Corner Resources, where we give back to the community, and we go a lot of places where there's a lot of violence in communities and underserved communities as well. So I'm hoping to be able to be kind of set in college, but I'm also wanting to give back to my community and, you know, be around for the young ones in my community.
There you go. Love that. Love that. Any other goals? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sydney Young, and my financial goal is to pay off my student loan.
Hey. We need that student loan forgiveness, though. They just need to whoop, whoop, whoop on that. Stop playing. They playing in our face a little bit with that. Y'all need to stop playing. Yes.
Ebro, share with them how important it is who you trust, to take care of your money, so that relatives or even, institutions would be there, that you trust.
Well, are you speaking about like making sure your money is in useful places?
Correct, so you feel like it's not being lost. Somebody, a cousin wants you to invest in something.
Oh yeah, no, we're not doing that.
People want to try to take the money away from you, and if they think you're investing.
Well, yeah. So there's yes. Thank you for that. There are a lot of scams out here, and I appreciate that. You definitely want to go to a reputable financial source, and you definitely want to make sure that whatever you are investing in or saving with is federally insured. That's something you definitely want to look for. And when you speak of trauma, especially like in my family, my family, one half of my family is immigrants, Jewish immigrants. Another half of my family is from Muskogee, Oklahoma, and my great-grandfather was a sharecropper. And so we lived through the banks actually taking black folks' money. Like, that was a thing in America where there were savings, people had their money in banks, and the government took money. And that's why generationally black folks have a lot of trauma, and grandma and them was just putting their money in the mattress, because it was like, we not putting money back in the bank because the last time they took our money and we didn't have any recourse, right? Those days we believe, or at least I believe, are gone, and we don't live in those times where the government's just gonna show up and take your money out of a bank and it's not insured. So you definitely want to bank with something that's federally insured, and you want to invest in something that's federally insured. I think the other little nugget, and we'll come to you in the back, sir, is this takes time. This takes time. You're talking about buying your place here in Harlem, 2007, 17 years ago. I bought my place around my condo in Jersey City that I rent out now, but around the same time, 2007. So this isn't something that is just a quick fix, flip a switch deal. This is about investing and getting an asset. The same thing with a retirement plan, the same thing with a life insurance plan, the same thing when you set aside, and that's a whole different conversation, right? Because that's also something that we don't do very well, which is plan for the inevitable, which we're all going to be dealing with at some point, and people don't like planning for it, but you need to plan for it. And the sooner you get that retirement plan and a life insurance plan, the better the rate you get, and the more you're, can rest easy and not have to discuss it later on in life. Yes, sir, you in the back. Financial goals.
They don't have labels, they don't have timelines, they don't have priorities, right? So I had plenty of financial goals, but I think what I spend a lot of my time doing throughout my day is talking to people about what a goal means. And I think we got to be careful not to just have a goal and say, I want to do this, I want to do that, without having any context to that goal. Because what happens is we going after goal A, and while we have goal B going on, we're not even pursuing goal B because we're focused on goal A, and we're losing money on goal B because we're focused on goal A. So I say this to say, a goal has a few factors. You got to label it. You're looking to buy a place or buy a business for your family. You got to put a time horizon around it. I want to do it within 5 years. You have to have an amount, right? It's going to be, I'm going to need $20,000 in the next 5 years, how you get there, right? And then you have to prioritize, okay, when money get tight, I'm going to go to A. I'm going to give money to A versus B, right? So my goal is to educate people on financial well-being, and
Would you like to tell people what it is you do, sir?
I work at J.P. Morgan. I'm a private banker in New Jersey, and I work with people that have a whole bunch of money, but they don't have the same trauma that our people have. And what I've seen with our people is we spend a lot of time trying not to lose versus trying to win, and that's a very profound difference, right? So you was talking about volatility. Volatility is important. When we I'm out of the market, I'm good. There's people that don't look like us that's like bet, discount. You know what I mean? Like that's when I want to get in. So volatility is a friend, but we don't see that because instability in our household is it's not something that we like to make friends with. So I understand how our people have this connotation of the markets and connotation of, not trusting people and things of that nature. But it's important that we simplify it a bit. It's not rocket science. It is math. It always comes back to the averages. We can talk about that. But I think before that, we have to get at the trauma and understand, be aware of the trauma so that we can accept that help that's out there, accept those advisors, accept that advice that we might be cynical about, like, nah, I don't know what homie trying to tell me, but homie might have some good advice, even if homie doesn't come from where we get from. And I'll start with this. I don't care how smart somebody is in the room. You got to be able to talk to them. And I don't mean just talk to them. They got to be able to speak to your experience in a way that's so profound, that's so empathetic, that they can understand your fears, and they can, despite their expertise, they can help you in the context of what you need as a human being. And I don't think there's enough of that because there's not enough people that look like me and Nichol in this business that can understand where we come from. But hopefully we get to a point. But my financial goal is for y'all to be happy and to find the peace that a lot of these people that don't look like us feel on a day-to-day basis, and hopefully I could be a part of that process.
So just to give y'all full disclosure, right? So that's my friend Ant. Ant heard about this and was like, hey, I want to come over there. How do I know Ant? Well, Chase called me one day and was like, hey, you want to join our private bank? I was like, no. I don't bank like that. Like, why would I want to do that? What does that provide me? But I was like, fine. It cost me money. They was like, nah, we'll just move your account over. All right, cool. Our daughters play tennis together right over in Edgewater. He emailed me one day. He was like, yeah, I see you at the tennis. I'm like, damn, man, somebody, because, you try to have your little private life. Come to find out, he's a cool-ass dude. And he's got a phenomenal family. And he understands right now, once again, I'm not Joe investment guy. Like, I have my couple little things. I'm not every day getting on the phone, but he's always like, listen, man, you got to get serious. So even me, I have someone who is on my head about making the right decisions. Even though I got a couple of things going for myself, I'm doing all right. He's still like, nah, we got to tighten it up. And JP Morgan got him on my neck. Like, listen, get Ebro's game together. But that's the kind of, it's really good people, man. And Nichol, like I said, met her at the Swizz Beats Alicia Keys art thing at the Brooklyn Museum, and she was like, we got work to do. So clearly Chase is valuing these moments, the community and these relationships, and trying to do things to help people who look like us make better decisions, right? And listen, it is lovely, but it is a business, and they recognize, I'm sure like all businesses, rising tides float all boats. Because if we're doing well, they're doing well. If we're making money, they're making money, and we can all make money together, right? And I think that's something that we also need to pay attention to, that these institutions, no matter what they are in the business to make money, but they make money when we make money. So they have a vested interest in helping us make money.
I couldn't have said it better. You got a goal.
And as a black person, many people that go to any type of job, whether it's the MTA, a social worker, or whatever, you face racism. In the 2008 market, I avoided that volatility of that recession by not buying an option armor home. So the question that I was asking is directly tied to my goal. I was able to learn. I had a mother who was a crack addict. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be dead right where she is. So many of the times people in our community hear this, and we hear rich people or people that's making it tell us, hey, you gotta strap up, but they are. And it brings me to tears as a single mother that had a father who was wealthy, a child's father who was wealthy, who didn't care about his child. So I went up and down, but I still managed to save $100,000 on my home. So I just want to tell the person that's on food stamps, you can do that too, because my mama was receiving black cheese and I hated drinking powdered milk. And so my goal is to continue to, my next goal is to buy a home. Because I remember how fearful it was. I remember being in the house in Edgewater where the owner sold the home. And I had to tell my daughter, who was going to college 4 years ago, and she graduated last year, that I was gonna sleep in my car for 5 weeks because she was gonna take her butt to college. So I know that it's possible to do these things, but it's damn hard.
But the sacrifice is so heavy. Bravo, bravo, bravo. So, we're gonna wrap. Shout out to everybody else. This was being live stream on Hot 97's YouTube. I don't know. We got some engagement over there. They in there, a little something. So if you want to review, basically, if you want to review this conversation, go back to it. It'll be available for everybody to go back to and watch. Hopefully, this is the first of many, right? So we'll be doing this again. And I want to give it up to this amazing Chase Bank Harlem Community Center, right? The first of many in the country. So give it up to them. Nichol and everybody here at the Chase Bank, thank you for having us. To the Hot 97 team for setting this whole thing up. And give yourself a round of applause as well for taking the time out of your schedule and coming and getting your mind right around some of these concepts. So I think we're going to step off to the side. I think there's some beverages and some snacks and things like that, but we're going to be having a workshop over there that the team here
is putting on.
Putting on. Yes, Rasan. There's two workshops in here and over there.
Yes.
So how do people know which is which?
Can I get Rocky and Jason? Rocky,
phenomenal
Jason.
Conversation. I appreciate all of y'all contributing too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
you for Hot 97 for just being my partner in this. Thank you, Ebro.
Of course.
All right. So give it up for my amazing team. This is Rocky.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Oh, actually, I think
I can help you.
So
and this is Jason.
What's this side versus the other side?
So we're going to do this quickly because you guys had a great conversation happening here.
But in here, we'll be offering a credit workshop. If you are interested in learning how to build credit, that will be happening in here by Mr. Jason Gomez. And I will be facilitating and setting goals over.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, we was rolling.